Miniver loved the days of old, when swords were bright and steeds were prancing. The vision of a warrior bold would set him dancing. Miniver sighed for what was not, and dreamed and rested from his labors. He dreamed of Thebes and Camelot and Priam's neighbors. Miniver mourned the ripe renown that made so many a name so fragrant. He mourned romance, now on the town, and art, a vagrant. Miniver loved the Medici, albeit he had never seen one. He would have sinned incessantly could he have been one. Miniver cursed the commonplace and eyed a khaki suit with loathing. He missed the medieval grace of iron clothing. Miniver scorned the gold he sought, but sore annoyed was he without it. Miniver thought and thought and thought and thought about it. Miniver Cheevy, born too late, scratched his head and kept on thinking. Miniver coughed and called it fate and kept on drinking. In one of his few longer poems, A.E. Housman wrote that luck's a chance, but trouble's sure. He then went on to write, since the world has still much good, but much less good than ill, I'd face it as a wise man should and train for ill and not for good. Well, anyone hearing such statements for the first time might be reminded of the Stoic philosophers of Greece and Rome, who believed at heart that life is a perilous circumstance at best, and that prudence as well as wisdom dictate that the best preparation for such a life is defensive living, to school oneself to be impervious to pleasure or to pain, so that one can be ready for trouble when it comes, as it assuredly will. Even if we assume that Housman's stoicism is persuasive, there are few of us willing to live such a Spartan existence. Besides, we might ask, how can anyone prepare for all the possible troubles that might befall a person in this life? Even an insurance man might be willing to admit, if pressed, that all dangerous or deadly contingencies cannot be covered. Consequently, we often shrug in the face of such stoicism and think of life's more pleasant possibilities, such as being lucky or famous, that is, looking for our happiness in alternatives that we consider equally possible and let trouble take the hindmost. But Housman was not a man to relent easily, if at all, from such a Stoic philosophy. This theme appears and reappears throughout all his work. Here it is in a shorter poem in which Housman claims that man's very impulse to hope may be his greatest enemy. He says, I to my perils of cheat and charmer came clad in armor by stars benign. Hope lies to mortals, and most believe her. But man's deceiver was never mine. The thoughts of others were light and fleeting, of lovers meeting and luck and fame. Mine were of trouble, and mine were steady. So I was ready when trouble came. Gerard Manley Hopkins is thought of as a poet of this century, even though he died in one of the last decades of the 19th century. Why does he have this place in our literature? Is it because his poems were not published until long after his death, actually by the British laureate Robert Bridges in the 1930s? Or is it because of his daring breakthroughs with conventional prosody, creating a sprung rhythm that follows the pattern of conversational speech itself? The answer must be left to speculation. But what need not be left to speculation is the always contemporary spirit of the quality of the work of one of the few men in English letters who was not only a poet but a priest, a member of the Jesuit order after his conversion due to the influence upon him at Oxford by John Henry Cardinal Newman. His spirit, however, his true legacy, is in his poetry. The spirit of Hopkins is in a short early poem called Heaven Haven. I have desire to go where springs not fail, to fields where flies no sharp and sided hail and a few lilies blow. And I have asked to be where no storms come, where the green swell is in the havens dumb, and out of the swing of the sea. And it finds its fullest maturity in the following poem. As kingfishers catch fire, dragonflies draw flame, as tumbled over rim in roundy wells, stones ring, like each tucked string tells, each hung bell's bow swung finds tongue to fling out broad its name. Each mortal thing does one thing and the same, deals out that being indoors each one dwells, selves, goes itself, myself it speaks and spells, crying, what I do is me.